and he got the size, huh?
What we're going to learn today is how money is created, because the Bible says, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. See, this is Caesar. So what is this? This is God's money.
That's God's money.
This is Caesar's money. This is government money. Mm-hmm. This is God's money. We have to understand how to give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That's why Caesar face on it, because this belongs to him.
And why is the check God money? What are you saying?
Because remember what John 1 says. John 1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
So your word, okay.
Let me ask you something.
All on the check, yes.
As Christians, I call myself a Christian, and as a Christian, I consider myself a child of God. If God is the grantor, and I'm his son, and and I'm his heir, then his money is my money. Mm-hmm. So what belongs to God belongs to me. What belongs to Caesar belongs to Caesar. Mm-hmm. What belongs to God belongs to him and his children.
I feel like you're about to pass around an offering tray. Like I'm supposed to pay something right now. I'm ready to pay.
Bro, so listen.
No, that, man, wow.
So what I'm saying is that for us to understand how money is created, you have to understand how this was created. How was this made money?
By just the gold that we had, I believe.
But what makes what I'm holding money? What makes it legal? It says here, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, right? Mm-hmm. So what makes it binding? This is a contract. I'll answer for you. What makes it binding is the signatures. You have the signature of the Treasury of the United States, and you have the signature of the Secretary of the Treasury. So the contract is between the United States Treasury and the Federal Reserve Bank. That's why it's two parties, the Federal Reserve Bank and the United States Treasury. That's a two-party instrument. That's why when you pick it up, you don't have to sign or endorse or do anything. Why? Because it's between the Secretary of the Treasury and the Federal Reserve note. You just the bearer. You're just the person holding it. It's not between you. Right? That's why when you get it, you pass it to the next person. He passes it to the next person. He passes it to the next person. But think about this. How is it that the United States, this is a debt. Do you understand? This is a debt. Right? This is debt. What I mean by debt, this is debt. This is a bill. That's why I call it a $10. This is debt.
$10 bill.
Right? It's a bill.
It's a bill. It's
right?
A bill.
So what that means is...
It's a bill, y'all. It's a debt.
It's a bill.
Man, look.
So what I'm saying...
keep going.
I'm saying...
Like blown right now. Like mind blown. Like, because it's right there in front of your face. And
bills. This is a bill, fellas.
It's a bill. It's a $10 bill. That is a $10 bill.
So what I'm saying is that, check this out. If this is the bill of the United States, right? This is money that the United States owes. The United States the Federal Reserve owes the United States $10, right? This is an outstanding obligation. It's called a certificate of indebtedness, right? So if I owe something for $10, he just paid me for $10. So he paid his debt, paid my debt, he pays your debt, you give it to the gas station, pay his debt, he gives it to the next person, he pays it. So the government just paid $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60 worth of debt with what? One bill. Yeah. The same promise. I used $10 to pay $80 in debt.
Man, so I hope y'all got that down. We about to segue into our last question here. Because I already know I'm gonna have to bring you back on the show. Because this is I'm gonna have to bring you back on the show. We need more time. You know what I'm saying? But so with the money influence, because we sent a lot of money to Israel, you kind of talked about a little bit of like kingdoms and things of that sort, but like the influence and alignment and accountability is what I want to go with. So Israel holds a unique, powerful position in American politics across party lines. So I'm thinking, what kind of? Because I remember we had this conversation, and they always stuck with me when you was talking about like the white pope and the black pope. When you was telling me about that like so stuck in my head, and then you had mentioned Israel. You was mentioning a lot of different nation stuff, and I just want to touch on some of that because I just want you to go in on that because I want to bring you back so you could really go into more depth on these kind of things because as these politics go on, the midterms are coming up, as the new elections are coming up, and as this different administration that we're seeing, we're going to see more of these coming, you know what I'm saying? They're probably going to get more and more aggressive, and it's going to be something that we're going to want people to kind of know that there's another underlying power and kingdom that's going on that we're not really we feel it and we get hurt from it sometimes or benefit from it, but we feel it, but we don't. A lot of people don't know what that is, and some people take it as Illuminati or this and that. But I'm being real. Like, let's level with what is that? What were you talking about when you said that?
Well, what I was talking about is just in America, all of people don't realize all of the wars that America has been in has been religious wars. That's from the beginning. The American Revolution was a religious war. Civil War was a religious war. War of 1812 was a religious war. So we keep thinking these things are about slaves, or these things are about cotton, or these things are about, but really when it all breaks down, the whole reason why the United States was created was because people were fleeing prosecution from the Roman Catholic Church that had a grip on all of Europe. And so they were they were pilgrims looking for religious freedom, and they wanted to create a country where they could practice their religion freely without the persecution from this European church. But over that 200 years, the Roman Catholic Church has created a grip over South, Central, and North America the same way it has the grip over Europe. And so what we are experiencing here in America, which looks like politics or looks like finances or whatever it may manifest on the surface, is all underlining a war, religious war between the true church and the false church. And so the Roman Catholic Church is the anti-representation of the true church, that Jesus and the original disciples, then the doctrine that was built on was carried on into Africa. A lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of black people think that Christianity came from white people. Christianity came from Europe. Christianity comes from Roman Catholic, practices and culture. And what we don't realize is, like, the original doctrines of the original disciples was kept and preserved in Ethiopia, which is called the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. And they have a pope, which is over all of the Oriental Orthodox churches in Alexandria, Egypt, which is where the Bible says, I shall call my son out of Egypt. This is all written. And so there was two, like I said, a surface side and a subsurface side to the story of Christ and the doctrine. See, a lot of people will claim Jesus. A lot of people will claim to be Christian. But Christianity means keeping the original doctrines, just like we talked today about words, the origin of the belief. Not what the belief has manifested into today, what it meant originally, just like words. That's how you get to the original truth, is going to its beginning. And when you do, you will find that the Ethiopians have preserved the original Bible.
That's what I was saying. It seems like they got
The original
oldest,
text.
like a leather binded Bible. Like
Yes,
a real,
88 books.
88, no,
88
not
books,
the 66,
yes.
88 books.
88 books.
Yeah.
The original text that, and just the doctrines, their belief system. So what happened was the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox churches was one body at the beginning of the century, first century. And what happened is they split around the 3rd century, and they split over doctrine, over principles about the nature of Christ, right? So one side of the church believed that Jesus, the nature of Jesus was 2 parts, right? He was part God and he was part man. He was 50%, he was a demigod. That's what they were trying to put out there. And then the other said no, Jesus was 100% God and 100% man, which is called the Miaphysite doctrine. And so that is what is that there is no separation in the nature of Christ in his divinity, that he was wholly Christ and holy man.
I was going to say there's a lot of denominations now that you see a lot, especially with our culture, that Jesus is like a God. It's like it's like a God deity.
Absolutely.
Because I always took it more better as like he was a man to me that was a perfect man that had the spirit of God in him, but he was a perfect man. But I see how people listening to that, I see how it can be like looked at as like, I guess, 100% God instead of half man, half deity, because that's, well,
it's the Trinity. It's the doctrine of the Trinity, which is what we were speaking about earlier about a trust. Remember, the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the 3 parties. Remember the 3 parts: the grantor, the trustee, the beneficiary, the drawer, the drawee, and the payee. It's the construct that has been given to us since the beginning of the Bible. That's what people don't realize, is that the Bible is a book about banking. We don't understand. The Bible is itself a negotiable instrument. That's what the Bible is. So learning what negotiable instruments are is really the words of God. This is understanding the 2 dynamics, bro.
Man, I'm loving that, understanding that, and we need to know that stuff. And that was eye-opening, and I want to hear more, but I know we're running out of time on the cards over here, so I don't want anything to get cut off in the middle of it, so I'd rather us like segue into something. But no, that right there, I've been wanting to know that, because I was like, when you was telling me that story with the white pope and the black pope, can you just touch on that a little bit? Because I want your opinion on like where does Israel sit? Where does Israel sit in this whole world of things, and why are we on both parties? Why are we so, stuck with that in a sense of like supporting them and things of that sort? Like why is that
the great deception, bro? Like the Bible says that the Antichrist will deceive 1/3 of the world's population. What we're watching is a great deception of the world, because people don't understand the history. We don't understand the what they call the title, the chain of title that has been passed down from generation to generation, and that's recorded in the Bible. So anyone who carefully studies the scriptures can realize.
Hold that right there.
Okay.
I like that you said that. When you said chain of title, because this is Filmtrix and Politics, y'all. If y'all ain't got what show we on right now, this is Filmtrix and Politics. But when you said chain of title, that's exactly what you have to have in film when you're presenting your project to executive producers, a chain of title, so they can make sure that everybody who's in it, all the people who are part of you, got the signatures and that they're part of this, and you have that.
Security.
So security,
bro. These are what I'm called legal terms. So when I use the word security, or you hear the word in movies, national security, this is a matter of national security. You hear the word social security. Security. But what is securities? the emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, one of my greatest inspirations. He spoke in front of the League of Nations and the United Nations, and what he said was a quote from one of his legendary speeches was, "Put your security in a higher entity or face annihilation." And it took me years of just chewing on what does he mean? Put your security in a higher entity or face annihilation. And so that is the key to understanding what all of the everything is tied together, bro. And what they've done is they put our minds in these boxes to separate everything. And we don't realize that everything is tied back to the same
source code.
Yes, and you have to get it's like putting the fragments back together piece by piece so you can see the whole puzzle. You keep saying that the Israel is in the Roman Catholic Church. All of these are institutions of mass deception, right? And they every day are creating new ways to cover your eyes, cover the wool, put blindfolds back over your eyes from getting you to realize what your power and authority is on the earth. And we can learn that through understanding.
So it's still going?
Yeah, it's still going. I just hit the 30-minute thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll
all right.
Cut this out real quick.
Cool.
It was just at the very end of what you said.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I was just saying that it's just negotiable. What is so when I say the word negotiable, what does that mean to you? What is negotiable?
Meaning that we're trying to find a common ground of a give and take of like what you want, what I want, and we got there. We're trying to get to that point. Mm-hmm. So we haven't got there yet, but we're trying to get there. That's what comes to my mind when I hear negotiation. That's what I hear.
That's so check this out. Let's just look up what negotiable means in law.
Let's look it up.
Negotiable, I can tell you, it's like tattooed in my mind. Negotiable means capable of being transferred by endorsement or delivery. That's what negotiable means in law. Negotiable means capable of being transferred by endorsement or delivery. That's why I say the Bible is a negotiable instrument. It can be passed now from generation to generation by delivery, right? That's what a pastor is doing. He's delivering the word of God. That's negotiation. Every time I pass this dollar to you, you take it, I negotiated the bill. That's transfer by negotiation, right? And so this is that is the transfer of any security. So I wanted to really just look up security because that is really something that I feel like the listeners will find interesting. So let's check this out.
Look that up, and we're gonna go into that, man, and then we're gonna cut that because we're gonna bring you back, bro. We're gonna bring you back. We got too much to go through. I got so many more questions in my head that I need to mull over myself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, go there. You're looking up securities, right?
Yeah. So I wanted to watch this. I want to read what this quote from the dictionary. It says, "What do the following have in common? Scotch whiskey, self-improvement courses, cosmetics, earthworms, beavers, muskrats, rabbits, chinchillas, fishing boats, vacuum cleaners, cemetery lots, cattle embryos, master recording contracts, animal feeding programs, pooled litigation funds, and fruit trees. The answer is that they have all been held to be securities within the meaning of the federal or state security statutes. The vast range of such unconventional investments that have fallen within the ambit of the securities laws coverage is due to the broad statutory definition of a security."
And what does all that mean, what you just said?
Security. A security is collateral given or pledged to guarantee the fulfillment of an obligation or a contract. So anything can be securitized. Right? So that's what we have to understand. What are securities? Because this is how we defend ourselves in a world that is the barrier. We talked about not being able to leave. We're not being able to leave the country because they are the walls. These American walls are built by words and language barriers. And we break down those barriers by understanding the simplicity of these words and executing them properly.
So, hey, we just got a master class on Black's Law Book on securities, and what we need to do right now is, hey, tell them how we can find you, your name, and we definitely got to have you come back and everything like that.
I'm done. Joey Penz at Joey Penz on Instagram, Facebook. And you can email me at joeypenz86@gmail.com.
And is there anything currently music-wise or your entertainment stuff you're working on right now, or?
Actually, like I said, I got just some. My catalog is still working and being placed in several different shows coming up. But I haven't worked in any new projects as far as music. But not. I still have music that hasn't been released.
I know you have stuff.
Okay. Sometime and
that's gonna be the next show, because actually that's what we need to do. Let's focus on some of that and this still too, and you guys in the comments, y'all put in the comment what you guys took interesting that what he was talking about and that we can expound on, because this is what this is about. I told you this interview was gonna be deep diving, and you're gonna leave something special with it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I had. We're gonna get out of here. Filmtrix and Politics, but we got more coming, and I hope you will be here. Hey, make sure you hit that like and subscribe.
This is under religious law. Remember, separation of church and state. So the state is recognizing that this marriage is outside of its jurisdiction. That's what it is. Literally the recognition, the state saying that you are independent from us. You are a separate territory. That's what it's called, a union. Remember, the United States is a union. Come on, bro. You gotta understand you are a state. That's why the Constitution says the United States Constitution, not the people, not the citizens, the states. Come on, bro.
Okay, we're gonna come back.
And it was funny, even when you were talking about the testing, because like I heard that a long time ago while a lot of the HBCUs take the had their students take the ACT instead of the SAT, and why black people historically do better on the ACT than the SAT because of
cultural
the languages.
The language.
And then also, like, I remember even when my son was a kid and he was having to take a test or like a practice test, and like one of the things I think they were asking about like a snowplow. Mm-hmm. This nigga live in southern Texas. He's never seen a snow. Exactly. So it was like they were asking questions about that. And then I think it was something about a baseboard too. And it was like that nigga, but it was a snowplow shit. And it was on the Texas State practice test. And it was like niggas that live in South Texas.
What is that? Yeah.
But it was like that was the only thing that was tricking them up. You know what I mean?
That's why I keep a thesaurus on my phone. I mean, I can put a word, a snowplow, and it's going to see what it denotes, and then all the connotations. It also is this. It also is this. It also is this. You study the connotations, bro. But you gotta break through. Language is the.
But yeah, that's how they do it on the SAT. That's what I heard. That's like same way. I was like, damn, well, I ain't doing good on this motherfucker. Like, but it's like, oh, that shit go back to.
Bro, listen. This is what I wanted to talk about. The thing for real. Listen, what people don't understand.
Camp's still going.
What people don't understand is that 400 years of slavery, the only way black people, the only reason black people got out of slavery was because of a reading revolution. That's what we need to do a documentary on. It was an underground rebellion of teaching and slaves how to read and slaves teaching themselves how to read. That rebellion was a revolution. It was a thinking revolution that led to the ultimate freedom, because the only way you can keep these people in slavery was because they didn't know the language.
Right. Correct.
That's the only. And so listen.
They didn't know how to read or write.
Oh, Kane, listen to me.
Of course we know it. Of course we know it, but then you don't.
Listen to me. That's why after Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, they put a bullet in his head. What came next? Reconstruction. You niggas know how to read now. Now we gotta reconstruct the language, etymology, pull another meanings to the words. So now you don't know how to read again. We can put you back in slavery, dude. This is all it is. It's we are back in economic. What was first called physical slavery, we are now in economic slavery. It's the same thing. And they're using language to keep us in the same captivity in both scenarios. It's language. It has to be a reading revolution.
Affecting the music because they can't read.
Let me tell you what would change my whole mindset. About 10 years ago, I came across a book that had just been released. It was like it's over 100 years old. It had just been released in the public domain by the London Library or something. It was called The Adventures of Zumba. It was written by a slave who used to be a king in Africa, and he was kidnapped by some white people who tricked him to come on the boat, kidnapped him illegally, brought him to Georgia, sold him into slavery for like 15 years. And he wrote his own book. He got freed from that shit. And he wrote this is his own memoir. Mm-hmm. And I read this book, and that shit changed my life. It changed my whole understanding of African slavery and all of it.
It's the third camera angle right here.
Okay. Hell yeah. So what was the name of the book?
The Many Adventures of Zumba or Zumba. Bro, in his reading his words and his outlook on what happened to him and his experience.
It sounds like the story of Squanto, the Thanksgiving story that they kidnapped, took to a different country and came back. But he ended up, doing some other things too. But Zumba.
You got something rolled up?
I don't.
Nigga run around the corner to this show.
Yeah, man, dude. This is just like an impromptu education right there, like what you were saying.
Bro, that's what I want to do, a documentary, because what people think is that like
because say that again, because you were talking about earlier before we put the mics on and stuff like that, that kept us enslaved because we couldn't read or write. And so all the just like you were talking about the white privilege and the language, really there's a language that they inherently already have because that's their language.
Language
that's
is
their
the
language.
ultimate
That's
weapon,
theirs.
guys.
It's English. It's English
language.
language.
I'm going to share something. It's the ultimate
and so
sword.
we weren't even allowed to know it. We weren't even allowed to read it. We weren't allowed to write it. And so
why do you think a draft is called a draft? Because the draft has a drawer. A drawer. So if I draw a gun on you or I draw a sword on you, I'm the drawer because I'm drawing the sword. You're the drawee because you're the one that the sword is being drawn on. You're the one that if I'm drawing a gun on you, what does that mean? I'm pointing the gun at you, right? If I walk into a bank and I draw my gun, I'm pointing my gun at the teller, which means I'm the drawer. She's the drawee. Why? The drawee means a person ordered to pay. The drawer means the person ordering you to pay. So if I'm holding the gun and give me all the money, I'm the drawer. She's the drawee, right? So that is the context of a trust. That's why they call the negotiator when I'm robbing the bank.
And some people hearing you, because I gotta say it, because I already know they're thinking it. Some people hearing you thinking you're talking about a drawer that you pull out of
that's
a
exactly
cupboard.
The meaning of the word, though. It's really a drawer is how it's pronounced. A drawer. But you know why? Why, bro? A drawer is on. I wish I had the check again. A drawer is the person that the check is. That's why it's called a check drawn on a bank.
Drawn on a bank.
What is a check drawn on a bank? Who is drawing the check on the bank? The drawer. The drawer is the person whose name is in the quarter. Who's the person on the bottom? The drawee. Who's the person on the back? The beneficiary. So we got to know the characters in a play. This is a play. Remember Shakespeare said, the world is a stage. We are characters in the play. Right? We're characters thereon. You have to understand who the characters are and then know that you're the director. The drawer is the director of the play, right?
The drawer is the director. Now we're talking.
If I don't like the characters, I can change the main character. I can switch the secondary, and because I'm the director. Who's the director? The one giving the orders. That's why it's called the director. So when you understand that there's three people in the play, the drawer, the drawee, and the beneficiary, how can I make the drawee the drawer and the drawee? I can change the characters of the play. Let me show you something, bro. Watch this. This is what I found in my banking disclosures. Right? If you look in your banking disclosures, you will find that the bank wrote this. Every time you open a bank account, the bank writes this in your thing. It's called contradictory terms of an instrument. If an instrument contains contradictory terms, typewritten terms prevail over printed terms. Handwritten terms prevail over both. And words prevail over numbers. That's law. That's why the Bible says, in the beginning was the Word. Words prevail over numbers. Every time.
Go, facts.
So that's why the power of the pen, that's why they say it's mightier than the sword, bro. This is why this is God's money.
Goddamn.
Because you create the contract.
The power of the pen is mightier than the sword.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, man. You know, you who is you? You one of them boys,
bro. I'm trying to tell y'all some deep pieces, bro.
See, hey, y'all hearing it here first on Filmtrix and Politix.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Exclusive.
This is exclusive, baby. So you're gonna have to get on the Patreon to get to this one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is going to be. So, man, I'm just listening.
But for instance, you said that you're a part of an Indian nation. Yeah. And I'm sure that Indian nation has land that has been put place for it that it calls home.
Right. Small reservation.
Those Indian nations all have reservations which have been granted to them, all right? So what about the rest of the people in the United States? What has been granted to us? You know what that nation is called? A Federal Reserve. A Federal Reserve is land that has been granted to the American people, right? That's what the Federal Reserve is telling us how to keep our own money. You not realize when you
said Federal Reserve, you talking about Yellowstone?
The Federal Reserve. No, I'm talking about the Federal Reserve that was on that note.
The Federal Reserve Bank,
that's
building.
Land.
Land, okay.
Bro, listen, that is land, bro. The Federal Reserve is land. That's an estate. That's why with your bank account, they tell you when you pass that your bank account passes with your estate. That's why when you your next in your line or in your will, the bank account, the estate, the checks pass to your heirs. Mm-hmm. Why? Because that is property. Those are securities.
Man, bring that camera right here, bro. Put that on him.
What is this?
Because this is too good. I know I'll kick myself. Just swing it. This is behind the scenes, y'all. We keep going. This is behind the scenes. Yeah, I'll squeeze over here. I'll get.
I'm gonna explain. This right here is a little one-minute video, and it explains in context the broader story of what I'm really trying to get y'all to understand. Watch this. This is called "What is a Life Estate?" This is real estate law. Mm-hmm. Do you not realize that your bank account is real estate? Do you not realize that every time you open a bank account that you're starting a job? You not realize that every time you go open to the bank account, that is a job application. You are being hired by the bank. Did you know that?
I'm learning.
What's this? Job. What is the etymology of the word job? What is a job? We're gonna learn today.
Actually, I'll turn that. That's the one to do.
So.
Story of a life estate. Creatively modified so that you could pass your exam. As you learn in your real estate books, real estate law comes from English common law. So let's start with the king. If you read your history books, the king was not always the nicest guy in the world. And the king tended to do some pretty horrible things. Therefore, a lot of people got angry, and the king needed protection. Money was a difficult commodity back then. It was awkward and hard to maintain. But now property was worth everything. If you had property, you were a big deal. So the king made a proposal. He said, defend me. But the people said, absolutely not. You're a horrible person.
The lords.
No way am I defending you.
Yes.
The king then replied, defend me and you'll be rich. I will give you land. At which time, many people said, great deal. Okay, let's do this.
Hell yeah.
But much like with everything, there was a catch. The king said, if I die, you will no longer have the property. At which the person replied, so I have the property for the duration of your life? Yes. If I stay alive, you will remain rich and powerful. I die, then you are poor. You have this estate for the duration of my life. Let's call it a life estate.
That's perfect.
Till then, if I stay alive, you will remain rich and powerful. I die, then you are poor. You have this estate for the duration of my life. Let's call it a life estate. Till next time, just remember, keep it simple and keep it concise.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So let's get what I'm telling you.
A life estate. So he dies, it's over with.
A life estate. So what happens, guys, is that in England, we had what was called status. You had status, right? Status or titles of nobility, right? So you had the peers, you had the nobles, you had the gents, that you had all of the different levels of status. And whatever status you was born into, that was the status of your life. So in our United States Constitution, it says that they cannot give titles of nobility in America. So what they've done is they changed the names. They're no longer these statuses that they used to be, but they've changed the names. They still have status in America, but now the statuses take on different names. And so that's why we have to study the language to understand what status to be in and operate in our daily lives to benefit as nobles of the land, bro. In the documentary, he's talking about kings. Who are the kings of America? The kings of America are the banks.
The banks.
So watch why the banks in the video he says the kings are saying defend us, and the people say no, we ain't defending you. The banks are the one ripping us off. But he says no, if you defend me, I'll give you land. What is land? Land. What is land? Why? You guys don't realize. That's why every bank says when you open up the rules and it says that this is a equal housing lender.
They do say that.
An equal housing lender. What kind of house is a bank giving you when you open up a bank account? It's giving you a warehouse. A warehouse to hold what? Money. So warehouse, a storage. That's why I said a drawer. A drawer, a place to hold money. This is what we call the Ark of the Covenant. What was the Ark of the Covenant? It was a vessel, a drawer to hold the commandments of God. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what this is teaching us. An estate, their life estate. When you open a bank account with a bank, you are becoming the executor of your own estate. You are learning how to execute or administrate your own estate. See, what happens is black people don't learn about their estate till they die. When their will is going through probate, that's when most people's estate, Tupac estate, is making more money than he did when he was alive. Why?
He didn't know.
Because he didn't know how to administrate his own estate while he was alive. My grandmother told me, she didn't believe in the whole Christian thing because she used to say, these white folks, they teaching they sons and daughters how to get to heaven right now. See, all the black folks is learning they Christian is learning how to get to heaven after they die.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm trying to teach black people is how to. The Bible says, "As it was in heaven, it was on earth."
Hey.
So that's why people trying to tell you
church
that
today.
the kingdom of heaven is right now happening on the earth. You have to learn how to administrate it. Everything that happens in law is hypothetical. That's why they call it hypothecation. So when you go to buy a car and your car costs $20,000 and you only got $1,000 down. Right? And they're saying, okay, we'll give you a loan, but they're hypothecating the amount of the loan based on your credit, right? That's how a bank works. So hypothecation is what we in church call the spirit, right? But in law, spirit got a different connotation. Let's look up what spirit mean in the legal dictionary because we know what it mean in church.
Whoa.
What does spirit mean in the legal dictionary? Spirit means the putative fundamental intention of the creator or creators of a legal instrument, whether it is a statute, a regulation, or a contract, a will, or some other document having legal effect, especially the general drift of a statute as opposed to its literal content. The spirit. That's why I told you in the beginning, the Bible is a negotiable instrument.
It sure is. Now
the Holy Spirit.
Wow.
The intent of God. Let's look at this. What is a creator? What is a creator? I told y'all we don't need to be making money. We need to create it.
Look,
if your money is not backed by anything, why are you working for something when you could create it? This is what a creator is. Watch this. Creator. A creator is a settler. What is a settler? A settler is someone who makes a settlement of property, especially one who sets up a trust. What is he also called? A creator, a donor, a truster, a grantor, or a founder. This is what I'm trying to teach people. You gotta understand, bro.
That's so real. Oh my God.
A party to an instrument.
Party to an instrument.
So that's why we're trying to settle the debt. All money is debt.
Bills.
There's no real money in the system no more.
$10 bill, $1
yes,
bill.
bro.
No money, it's a bill.
Yes, bro.
I'm so glad we're learning. You want, we make a folder?
Yeah, I made one.
Okay, because that's you see the film tricks and stuff.
Yeah, and then within there, I made a episode too within Filmtrix Lab.
Yeah. The assets.
I put in assets.
Well, you can leave it out of there.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah. But yeah, and then I separating the cameras.
Cool. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm gonna see if I.
That's why you gotta understand, bro. Everything. Listen. If there is no gold or silver that's backing the money, what is backing the money? What makes it valuable? That's what all Americans need to be asking themselves. Everybody's worrying about what Trump is doing. Everybody's worrying about what the immigrants are doing. What you need to be understanding is your relationship between you and your bank. That's the only thing that's controlling your everyday environment.
They keep saying that I'll look it up too on ChatGPT and they're saying that he wants the dollar to be weaker because it's better for some economic plan he got going on. And now we hear Japan is going full with the yen or whatever. They're not really taking the dollar. What's going on? What's going on?
Do you want to know what's happening right now? We are in the end times. We are in the Armageddon. We are in the Great Flood right now. That's what's happening right now. If you don't believe me, look at this. It's
already raining.
Watch this. Look at the current price of coin. This is the gold price. The gold price is about $5,000 for an ounce. One coin, 1 ounce of gold is $5,000. In 2000, that was $900 an ounce. In 6 years, it's $5,000 an ounce. The silver price last week was over $115. What is happening? That's what I said. Donald Trump is a master of disguise. What he's doing is getting everybody to look left when they should be looking right. That's what a magician does. Yeah. And that's why he's the president, because he's great at doing that. What nobody is looking at is what's happening to their money right now. What happens when the electrical grid goes down? There is no ATMs. All the banks are closed, and you need eggs, you need bread, if you don't know how to use this, how do you feed your family? That's what people don't understand. This is the only thing that is money in the system. I told them, legal tender, that green stuff, and this. So we have to why, bro? You gotta understand. Why is this money? Why is this money? Kane, I'm about to show you some real shit.
You saying?
Do you look at this? What is that?
The numbers.
How do you fill out a check?
I gotta put my date. I gotta cursively write out the number of what I'm putting, and then put the number in. I gotta sign it.
Where you sign it at?
I think I signed it on the left-hand side. I believe. That's what I believe.
Well, this is for the memo, or what you put it for. This for.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I was signed on the back.
So what I'm saying is that this is not a line. This is a line. This is not a line. People don't realize. Look
like
very closely.
Numbers in there.
Look at that. These words says MP. You know why that says MP? Because it's telling you this is micro print, meaning that this is a language. This is not a line. So why is the bank telling you that this is micro print language? What is they telling you? What are they saying?
There's something there.
There's something there. That's why if you got a microscope or you got a magnifying glass, you can look and see what it says. Look, these are words, bro. Why is the bank writing little itty bitty words that you can't see? Because there's something going on beneath the eye, bro.
There's words there.
Yes. You know what that says?
Dude. What is that about?
It says authorized signature. Look, let's look at Google. Watch this.
Why would they?
Signature line on check. Watch this. Watch this. Let's look it up. The signature line on checks is not a line at all. Let's read the article. Although personal checks are adequated by modern payment standards, they still have some valid uses. For example, they're still popular for personal and bill payments by mail. They're also used to dodge online transaction fees to friends or submit payments on other auctions. Turning a blank line into the amount of money. It says, okay, there is also a feature called micro security print, usually indicated as an MP. Logo on the signature line. The logo indicates the very tiny print is present. While the signature line looks like an ordinary horizontal line, it is actually made up of very small repeating print called authorized signature. This text is extremely small, so small that it will become completely blurry and unreadable if it is photocopied. Now, why would that be police on your checks?
Yeah, why would they do that?
You have to look underneath the surface. Damn. Do you not realize?
I've seen that meme, but I didn't know if that was real or not. I didn't even take the time because this shit is small.
Remember they tell you always, read the fine print.
Read the fine print.
Don't they tell you that?
But why would they do it that way? What is that about?
Because they're trying to keep something from the public eye. That's why they're trying to keep it out the public eye.
So what else is doing that? So what else is
the bank? I told you, everyone is paying attention to things that don't matter. What matters is the thing that controls your money supply. Mm-hmm. All money comes from the banking institutions.
So what do you think about this crypto stuff then?
This is connotation. Let me tell you, if you want to understand money, you have to go in the past where the origin of money was created. This is how motherfuckers used to make money in the 20s, in the 30s. This is why nobody knows how to use this stuff, because everybody wants electronic digital stuff. Yeah. But this is how real money works. And it will always be, because this is the original way. What connotation is they pushing new ways on top of new ways so you forget the original way.
Crypto's a connotation.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So the 50 years, they're going to have more connotation. More, because they're trying to take you farther and farther from the original meaning of what money is and how it works. Every generation. So generation, we're going to be less understanding or educated on how money is actually created, because they're going to be following the connotation of the generation. So that's why what I had to do was to go backwards. Have you ever seen the movie Real Player One?
No.
It's
Real Player One. I'm gonna just check it out.
Man, this movie is incredible, bro. It's
I feel like I heard of it.
You gotta have seen this movie, man. Real Player One. It's what's his name? The biggest director who did E.T. and all that. Spielberg. Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up then, right here.
Real Player One. This movie right here.
Let's see.
Man, you ever seen this? Man, you gotta see this movie, bro. It's incredible.
Let me know if it comes up populated already.
Real Player One. Yeah, just put in watch the trailer and shit. Real Player. So there's a scene in this movie where, like I said, this is real. Like Spielberg is trying to tell everybody. So we gotta understand, bro. Is that in law they have something called constructive notice. Okay? Constructive notice. Constructive notice means that the government or the state has to give this information out to the public, but it doesn't mandate how they give it out, right? So they can satisfy their obligation by getting this imperative knowledge that has to be public before they release it. But then the government can do it in any way that they want to do it. It's just like a father writing his will about how he want to transfer his property to his kids, right? You can write your will any way you want to write it. Right? And so what the government does is they do it in these very tricky ways to put it right underneath your nose in a place where you're not looking. That's why they tell you, you ever heard, if you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in a book?
Yep.
What is the book? A checkbook.
And the CIA has an office in Hollywood, and Hollywood has an office in CIA.
Bro, listen. Listen.
Like what you're saying.
The two ends of the country, the West Coast and the East Coast, have cities which are masters of disguise, right? So Hollywood creates the perception for the domestic, for the people of America, and DC creates the deception for the entire world. That's what it is.
I don't think I've seen this, man.
Check this.
When I was a kid, my mom too. And I ended up.
Now I'll mute out this sound when the video will get copyrighted.
Here in my tiny corner of nowhere. There's nowhere left to go.
Dude, no, I ain't never seen this.
Nowhere. Except the Oasis. A whole virtual universe.
This it?
This is gonna be the future. This is the future, bro. That's why they got the headsets, everything.
People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do.
And they got the DeLorean in there?
Because of all the things they can be.
This movie's ahead of its time, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only place that feels like I mean anything. The Oasis was the brainchild of James Halliday.
Hello. If you're watching this, I'm dead. I created a hidden object, an Easter egg. The first person to find the egg will inherit $500 billion and total control of the Oasis itself.
Oh, wow.
Who is this Parzival? And how the hell is he winning?
Find him. This isn't just a game. I'm talking about actual life and death stuff.
The Oasis, the world's most important economic resource. It's nothing less than a war for control of the future.
Welcome to the rebellion, Wade.
That's what it is. It's, I told you, a reading rebellion, bro.
Dude.
This is what it is. This movie is telling you what the future is going to look like.
What the hell?
Like many of you, I only came here to escape. But I found something much bigger than just myself. Are you willing to fight?
Help us save the Oasis.
So there's a scene in the movie, right?
When does this come out?
There's a scene in the movie where everybody's trying to run this. There's this particular race in the game that everybody's trying to win. Nobody can beat the race.
2018 it came out. 2018. Real Player One. Oh, Real Player One. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
So there's this scene where everybody's trying to win this race. And there's these obstacles that the creator of the race put in there, which is impossible to beat. So everybody runs the race, and every time everyone loses, no one can get to the finish line because there's all of these crazy obstacles that is just impossible to beat. And so the one kid, the main character, after trying hundreds and hundreds of times and failing, he goes deeper into the past of the mindset of the guy who created the game to kind of realize, hold on, there's some deeper understanding that I got to get. So he realized that there's something going on, and he realized that the way that I win the game is to do the race backwards, right? So when he realizes that you don't win the race by running the same direction as everybody else. You win the race by running in the opposite direction, right? So when he gets to the start of the race again, they push go and everybody takes off. And he puts this thing in reverse, and behind him is a brick wall. And he's driving his car fast and fast, and he's like, what the heck is going to happen? Everybody thinks he's about to crash. And as soon as he knows, a secret passage door opens up, and there's a whole new another a whole new another side of the game that nobody even knows the other end. And that's exactly how our monetary system works, bro. This is like people don't. Everybody's running this rat race in the same direction.
But you gotta go
and
back
when
to
you
the
realize
source.
that's what it is about. Energy. Energy is positive and negative energy, right? We have the country has been set on a positive frequency, and all you have to do is go in the opposite direction to set yourself on a positive frequency to get all of the things that you've been missing, because we are programmed to look at it in the opposite direction. I can prove it to you. Do you not know? I told you using etymology. Do you not know that your globe is upside down? If you studied words, you will realize that every time they showed you the globe, it was upside down. How do I know that?
Yeah, what's that? Tell me what's going on.
Let's look up what the etymology of the word north means. What is north?
North.
Y'all don't even realize everything is upside down. Everything. What is north? Etymology.
I had to teach my daughter that. I was like, well, north is this. But we travel that way north, but this is what they tell us is
north. Originates from Proto-Germanic nurbra, ultimately from Proto-Indo-European root nur, meaning left or below. North is below, the bottom of the earth. South means above. That's why the Queen of Sheba, the Queen of the South, in the story of the Solomon and Queen of Sheba, she came from the South. She came from the top of the earth. The Antarctica is the top of the earth. Do you not realize? You don't think I'm bullshitting? Watch this. Look at Arctic. Antarctic, right? They call it Antarctic, right?
Antarctic, yeah.
What does Arctic mean? Let's put in the source. What is Arctic? Arctic. Arctic.
Man, this is great. This is
Arctic, glacial, polar, frigid, freezing, wintry, cold, icy, frosty, chilly, bitter, frozen. That's what Arctic means. So the North Pole is called the Arctic because it's glacier, polar, frigid, freezing, wintry. The South Pole is called the Antarctic. Ant means not. Ant means not Arctic. So if it's not Arctic, it means it's not glacial, polar, frigid, freezing, chilly, wintry, or frozen.
It's not.
The South is Antarctic. You see what I'm saying? We have our total understanding of language, words, the earth, money. Everything has been put in reverse. And when you really start paying attention, you will realize through going back to the root of the words that somebody done flip shit upside down.
They didn't want us to know nothing.
No, that's
flipping it. Man, hey, this was an exclusive behind the scenes. We about to cut the camera because this is gonna be on the Patreon. Y'all got to get this one. Look, hey, I'm bringing it to you. Filmtrix Politix Exclusive. I'm filmmaker. We out of here, man. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.